Hey, what's going on, guys? It's been a minute. I apologize. I was in Japan bicycle touring. I'll link my other video and you can check out those videos if you're interested in bicycles. I mean, the channel is called Two Wheels Good, and at some point I wanted to merge them together, but I figured the audiences are very different for the motorcycle world and the bicycle world. So yeah, I'll link the videos there. They're kind of low effort videos I did. They're not crazy vlogs or anything like that, but if you want to check them out, I'll put them there. I haven't seen the R9, so this is going to be a reaction to one of the videos Yamaha Motor USA just uploaded. I haven't seen the bike, like I said. All right, so initial shot, city skyline. So I already like what they're doing. They're already showing me that, okay, yes, this bike is about the city, or you know, if you live in a rural area, that counts as well. But that duality between the city, and I'm assuming they're gonna show the track at some point. And the video is called Accessible Super Sport Performance. So I like that. I mean, that's what we need, because currently the R1 is just, in my opinion, way too much power for basically any city. Unless you lived out in the rural area, then maybe you could use that power, but around me, there's no way. Unless you're just doing highway pulls, which any dummy can do. You know, you just twist the throttle and go, whatever, get a Hayabusa or something like that if that's what you're into. But to me, the fun is in that instant power and the kind of canyon carving capability, lightweight, and a decent cost. So I think 12.5 is okay. Once you start going into the 16,000 territory, you know, that's out of my range. I don't want to spend that much money on a bike because, you know, it's just beyond my skill in most ways, basically. Okay, cool. And yeah, like I said, showing the average guy in the city, that guy could be me. I could picture myself as him. Getting out of the office, I commute by motorcycle, maybe a 20 mile, 18 mile commute. This bike could be good for that. You could commute on this bike if you wanted to. But yeah, the first shot here of the bike, you know what? I think it looks pretty cool. It definitely has that Yamaha essence to it, that kind of iconic look that they have recently, especially in the front face there with the headlights, the tank, very Yamaha, the font of the R9, huge contentious. I know the winglets are going to be a huge contentious topic, and I can see why. They are odd, that kind of, they just go out straight like that and then kind of merge into the body. I do love the merging into the body part, and it merges into the kind of the face and then goes down and merges into the body. That's cool. Versus the new R1, which is just, you know, your standard winglet. A lot of brands are doing that kind of merging into the body, like CF Moto, they have some crazy winglets too. These to me look a little strange. It looks like the bike is doing like, yay, like, I don't know, like Superman, or like a weird thing, like a T-pose. I love the ducts though that go between those winglets, or within, I should say. They go and then they just go back like that. I kind of like that. There's that clean execution there, but yeah. I'm not sure how I feel about those winglets yet. I gotta see them in person, and I gotta see them in different angles. But yeah, it looks like an R7, a slightly modified R7, a little heavier in the front thanks to those winglets. And I could see that it does have the Cyclops headlight there, which I do like. Some people don't like it, but I think they look great. At this point, it's a Yamaha thing, I think. Yeah, but it does look like an evolution on the R line. So yeah, R125, R3, R7. Now you have the R9, and then you have the R1, which is, I think it's its own class. It's obviously a flagship model, flagship pricing, premium look, premium everything basically. So I really won't compare it to this, because I don't think they're comparable, period. Things I could already see that they use from other bikes: swing arm, MT09 XSR, saying swing arm. Sorry, I just woke up. I haven't even had coffee yet. The exhaust, obviously the same. They use the CP3 engine. I can see the clutch cover is painted black this time versus that kind of bronze look that the XSR had, but it looks the same. Here, the frame looks totally different, actually. It looks like a brand new frame, which I was mistaken. I thought they would use the same Delta box frame as the XSR MT, but this looks new to me. I'm gonna guess they reduced weight, increased rigidity. They control that with the hydroforming, so by controlling the thickness of the walls in the areas where it matters. So you do an engineering analysis, and you can see where it's flexing more, and in those areas you increase that wall thickness. The subframe is totally different. Obviously the rear is different as well. I can see the Brembo brakes, which is nice, but you know, I've never really had a huge issue with brakes. They're fine on the XSR. They're not Brembos. I mean, the master cylinder is Brembo, but the actual calipers aren't. And I've never run into issues. I mean, learn how to brake, guys. But yeah, Brembos are nice. Fully adjustable KYBs, I could already see there. And that's pretty much where the price comes from. It's the R&D from the frame, and probably higher cost too from the frame. And then you have the Brembos and the KYB fully adjustable forks. So I bet that's where the pricing comes from. And it's still not that much. I mean, the XSR was what, 10,000, 2,000 more for this. Not bad, honestly. The side fairing, I'm a little iffy about. That scoop there on the bottom is kind of weird to me. I wish it was more kind of boiled down. Like, why are there so many different shapes there? There you got the little slit, you got the little opening here, and then you have the more square looking opening. Now, I don't know if this is the most efficient way of having this feature. Like that, the best way to remove heat or make it more aerodynamic. Like, I wish they would focus firstly on, okay, engineering wise, what's the best way to do this? How is this gonna take all the heat out in the most effective manner possible? And then you could stylize it. So form follows function, in my opinion. That's how it should be. Yeah. And then the side panel just has a lot going on, but at the same time, it doesn't have much going on. Like, it's very plain, but it has a lot of faceting. The shapes need to be defined more. They're kind of like all over the place. Yeah, as a first look here, I'll give it probably like a 6.5 or 7 out of 10. I think it looks good. I could ride it and I would have no issues riding it. But I wouldn't say it's beautiful. It's kind of a weird thing that I'm slightly attracted to, but I'm unsure about it. Tank is very R7-ish. You have the area where the knee goes is very clean, very simple. But at the same time, you have that red color coming in, and then you have the black kind of plastic covering, and then you have the white tank. A little strange there, but a lot of people don't like clean surfacing. I've noticed. I was reading the comments earlier on something that's like, what's wrong with that area? Why is there nothing there? Dude, your knee goes there. Why does it need to have something there? There's just no reason to have something there. If it doesn't need it, it doesn't need to be there, period. Like, I hate over design. Like, why do they have to have design elements where they don't need them? Just keep it clean. The black looks much better in my opinion, and it's because of the decals. The decals are ugly. The font is ugly. I don't know what's going on with that font, and then that kind of like claw thing is like a scythe, that shape. It's not doing many favors in my opinion. It looks a little immature in my opinion. But yeah, the black looks really good. Okay, here's another angle showing it more from the front. Yeah, those winglets are massive, dude. And it's not so much the actual like X coordinate dimension, but the thickness. They look really thick. And then they protrude out a lot. It's just giant triangles. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about them. Again, I don't hate them. I think it's a pretty unique design element, how it merges into the rest of the cowls, but I'll have to see it in person because I know video never does it justice, really. And again, I'm talking about this duality between the city and the track, like I was talking about earlier. I think that's cool. I think that is the target consumer for this bike, you know, your average dude that likes going fast, but yeah, you can also commute on it, and you know, you ride it in the city, no problem. The black looks cool. The bike looks a little front heavy in my opinion, because you have that big front, the side cowling there, and it's very clean and simple, and that just adds visual bulk to it. As well as the front cowl is very clean and simple as well, and that just makes it look more visually heavy. So you have those elements plus the wings, and then the rear is just very thin. And you have the CP3 engine that has that kind of space in between it, in the top that goes through the bike. It just adds more like visual lightness to it. So the rear looks very thin and light, but the front looks very chunky. And I think it's suffering the same kind of visual distortion as the GSX 8S. It just looks very front heavy. This one, not as much. And I still like the way it looks. It kind of looks like a shark, but yeah, just an observation there. You saw a TFT display there real quick. Yeah, it's a bigger TFT. It looks like the one on the MT10. I'm not exactly sure. As you guys know, I'm really not into TFT displays. I just don't care. Like, people talk about like, oh, it's bigger. At some point, you're gonna have a freaking iPad there. Like, it's just gonna look really stupid, like the cars these days. And there's just not enough interaction with it, in my opinion. Like, when I'm riding, I'm not looking at a thing at all. Like, I'll glance at it to see the speed and whatever, but it does not need to be that big. There's no reason for it to be that big other than like the tech nerds that love all the gadgetry and stuff. But to me, it's detracting from the experience on a motorcycle. All that thing should be analog. Keep it analog, keep it simple, you know. You can also see that plate, the handlebar plate. It looks very similar to the R7 with the milled out, the cutouts there. So yeah, just a weight reducing element there. Sounds just like the, you know, MT XSR. It's the same engine, same exhaust. Sounds awesome in my opinion, even with the stock exhaust. It sounds good. I've kept my XSR with a stock exhaust and I just like it. You know, it's not too loud, doesn't bother my neighbors, and it still sounds good when you're, you know, giving it the beans. Yeah, again, the duality between the track and the twisties is pretty cool. From this angle, the winglets look pretty good. They look aggressive, but very clean. So I think it's working well in this angle. But again, the graphics just not good in my opinion. Yeah, front end looks good, very clean. Yeah, it looks pretty similar to the R7, except you have, yeah, the winglets and the area between the headlights. It looks good, I think, pretty aggressive. Let's pause it there on the nice lean angle. Yeah, I like it. I mean, I would buy this if I had the money. Brembo brakes, high-spec KYB, front and rear, both adjustable. Aerodynamic winglets, I don't know. I have to see some data. People think they get away with the aerodynamic where it's not really aerodynamic, especially at lower speeds. I feel like the only way it's aerodynamic is at a much higher speeds, like a MotoGP bike. That's where it really matters on the road. It makes pretty much, it's negligible, you know. All new TFT display. Okay, never mind, it's not from the MT10. New Y-Track Rev app connectivity. You know, I don't know about that. Once you start getting into the connectivity thing, and like, it's just, for me, it's too much. Even the rider modes, for me, it's just, I don't really use it. I leave it in one and I've never moved it from one, even in the rain. It's just, why do I need this? Honestly, how many times am I gonna use this connectivity and then like messing with settings and stuff? Guaranteed for me, never. It's a useless feature. It just adds noise to the system. You can tell I'm not big on electronics. Yeah, it looks so much cooler without the rear view mirrors. I mean, they don't look bad, but it looks just so much cleaner without. Leave everything behind. I don't know about that. Yeah, the side profile is interesting. Again, there's that front heaviness to it. Yeah, again, yeah, I stick to my original score there. It's like a 7 out of 10. I like it. I don't love it. Cool, yeah. I mean, the price makes sense. Ideally, I would love to have like a T7 maybe, or 800DE, the Suzuki. And then I would have one of these for like the weekends. That would be my ideal setup, but I cannot own two bikes right now. So yeah, let me know what you think. I know I've already read some comments and there's a lot of contention there, especially from the R1 bros. Again, these bikes do not compare. Stop comparing this to an R1. It's not comparable. So actually, I had a few other kind of random thoughts here. I was reading some comments and a lot of people were like, oh, but the R1 completely destroys this. The R6 was better. Guys, you gotta understand that the super sport segment has been dying for quite a while now. People are just not willing to ride those bikes anymore, and the cost is just skyrocketing. You know, you have inflation now, housing being so expensive. Yamaha is a company. This should be no surprise to anybody. A company's main goal is to make money. Making these super sport bikes accessible to more people is a good thing. I mean, it's more usable power for most people in most cities. You know, the R9 is gonna be much better than an R1. I'm sure there are some people who could use the full potential of an R1 on the street, but you're just asking to die, basically. Like, not a lot of people do that. So yeah, you should be celebrating this. Yes, they're not crazy, you know, 150 kilogram, 200 horsepower bikes. That's a crazy segment. Not many people need that or want that anymore. So yeah, it's just evolution, you know, things change. I think this is a good step for Yamaha, making these sport bikes more accessible to the average dude, you know, like me, working an office job, working from home, you know, going to the canyons on the weekends, maybe going to the track once in a while. It's, you know, not very accessible to most people. So I think this is awesome. It's a win.